The Jade Helm Conspiracy has gotten tens of millions of Republicans paranoid that Obama plans to invade the Southwest. Now, this sounds like bad news possibly for Obama, possibly for the country, but it is good news for Rick Perry, who sees that this now has provided an in for him to make the case for why he would be a good president. Let's watch.
Going on? Is the government going to try to take over Texas? I mean, some crazy things are happening now because we don't trust each other.
Here's an interesting, I think, and if you put an individual, and I'll use myself, I haven't announced for the presidency, but if I did, let's say that I were to become the president of the United States, I think there will be a clearly change of attitude towards that office, what comes out of that office, the messaging that comes out of that office, that clearly puts America back on a course where people, I hope people always question government. They should. Our founding fathers sent us that message that we ought to question government. But don't question your military. Don't question the men and women who have put their hands up and sworn this oath to our Constitution and defend this country.
He is not a very smart man. I mean, he definitely showed that in one of the biggest debate flubs ever when he couldn't name the third executive department that he wanted to shut down. But there's a lot of crazy here, and I think that both of them are both responsible in part for it because they like to push conspiracy theories like this. I mean, for Beck to say crazy things are happening right now. No, crazy things aren't happening right now. Crazy things are being believed right now, probably in no small part thanks to your online network and your former show on Fox, where you pushed every conspiracy theory that you could.
Crazy people are on Twitter.
Yes, right now.
And that's all that this is. So, and Rick Perry uncovered in that meandering, puzzling, could be the dumbest governor in Texas history.
Maybe.
And I know what I'm saying. Greg Abbott, by the way, no genius. But,
really?
But obviously, there was a very significant governor of Texas who wasn't that bright or worldly. So he gets the Jade. I don't even want to give it the ounce of it, but Jade Helm 15 suggests that Obama's. So the military, he's saying the army, because they're on maneuvers. They're having maneuvering.
They're doing a military exercise, as they do in all parts of the world throughout the year.
Right, and that this is going to be part of the takeover so that Obama would use the military for this takeover, but then Perry realizes that you're kind of accusing the army, who would be like, we're not going to do this. This is not what we're, this is not our job, right? And we would never do this, so Perry has to get around that. So he's like, so no, Obama's coming to get you, but not... But the military, but can't speak anything. You can't say anything bad about them ever. So he's in that conundrum.
Well, that's why they sort of shifted it to not that they're going to take over the Southwest, but that somehow putting the military down there is going to allow ISIS to infiltrate through the border.
So here's part of the quote. Here's the part of the quote that Perry said, and we ran. I think there will clearly be a changed attitude toward that office, the presidency, if he runs. Or and wins, inconceivable. What comes out of the office, the messaging that comes out of that office, clearly puts America back on course where people don't believe the president will implement martial law and allow Russians to build death domes. So,
what is a death dome?
What's sophisticated about the death dome? I like the idea of death domes.
I think you just spoiled the name of the sequel to Mad Max. Actually,
funny. I went with Hunger Games 4. Yeah, totally. Yeah, both good, both possible. So
maybe a crossover.
So I just like that they come up with a way to, without saying that Jade Helm 15 is real, saying that there's somehow just a huge benefit in not having people believe that it would come, even though it's so clear. Or
that Obama is responsible that people believe these crazy conspiracy theories.
No, Lone Star State. That's
and then one other thing too, I love that he says, you should, so he has to both say that the government's doing something terrible, but don't blame the military. And he also has to say, well, of course you should question the government, but don't question the military. He specifically says, don't question the men and women who have put their hands up and sworn this oath to our Constitution to defend this country. You jackass, the president does that as well.
Yeah, totally.
Fucking moron, you're not qualified to even be on this stupid nobody watches it online network.
He might not be qualified. He might not be qualified to run for president as a Republican. And
he might not.
That bar is literally on the ground.